If you've never been to West Virginia, then let me be the first to tell you that it is unlike any other state I've seen. West Virginia almost feels like it's frozen in time in some ways. In all my travels, both domestic and international, I've never seen a place quite like this. Every city I stopped at for this documentary was located along the Kanawha River, which eventually flows into the Ohio River, and right where those two rivers intersect is where you will find Point Pleasant, West Virginia. With a population of only 4,300 people and an area of 3 square miles, it's a town where everybody knows everyone. Have you ever seen Stranger Things? Maybe read Stephen King's It? If you have, you'd feel right at home here. It looks like the setting of every small-town horror film that I've ever seen. But the reason I'm here is to tell you about two things. For the first one, we're going to have to travel back to December of 1967.
That was horrible. Yeah, it was just horrible. We thought just a piece had fell out of the bridge, you could get across, but when we got to Point Pleasant, everything was just cars with the doors open and people running. It was sad, really sad.
On December 15th, the Silver Bridge that crossed the Ohio River collapsed, killing 46 people. It was one of the worst bridge disasters that the United States had ever seen. As awful and strange as that story is itself, there is one factor that makes it even more intriguing. The year prior to all of this, the residents of Point Pleasant experienced one of the strangest events in West Virginia's history. This is the story of the Mothman. On November 15, 1966, Linda and Roger Scarberry were driving through a former World War II munitions plant called the TNT area with their friends Steve and Mary. Linda noticed 2 glowing red eyes staring at her beside the abandoned North Power Plant. The longer she looked, the more she saw of this creature. Roger aimed his headlights at the creature, and once he did, the entire group witnessed as a 7-foot-tall, humanoid winged beast spread its wings and chase after their car on this road right here. Roger Scarberry drove over 100 miles per hour back to the police station to tell them of what they just witnessed. Now, when I visited Point Pleasant, I did not see the Mothman in the TNT area, but I knew of one place here that I was guaranteed to have a Mothman sighting. Okay, yes, so some of this is a little bit silly, but this is the world's only Mothman museum, and it's located in downtown Point Pleasant. The museum, owned by Jeff Wamsley, is the only place in the world where you can find all of the original documentation surrounding the Mothman. They have everything from life-size Mothman suits to some of the props and autographs used from the movie The Mothman Prophecies with Richard Gere. Now, these newspaper clippings were preserved and kept by the Wamsley family after their uncle was recovered as one of the victims in the Silver Bridge disaster. But they've also collected hundreds of articles from local and national newspapers detailing the story of the Mothman from the very beginning. And these are the original handwritten police statements by Linda and Roger Scarberry after their first encounter with the Mothman. The museum is a top tourist attraction here, and it's honestly a lot of fun. The people of Point Pleasant are warm and welcoming, and they've really embraced the publicity that the Mothman has brought to their town. Every year, Point Pleasant even holds a Mothman Festival, which over 10,000 people attend to commemorate the entire story of the Mothman. But I had to ask someone the question that I'm sure they get way too often, and they're all really sick of hearing. Do you believe in the Mothman?
I think somebody's seen something.
They were too upset just
It scared them.
But
And then
I just
it went from there. But what it was, I don't know. I was a young man at the time. I looked for it, but I didn't see it.
Something scary as that.
And it's, but something I had to get it started. They didn't just make it up and start off.
Once you're finished looking around the museum, they do have a gift shop where you can purchase t-shirts, sweatshirts, shot glasses, Monster Energy drinks, books, DVDs, magazines, guitar picks, Mothman droppings. Look, you name it, they have it, and it probably has a Mothman logo on it. So the residents of Point Pleasant saw the Mothman from November of 1966 to December of 1967. The last well-known sighting of the Mothman was moments before the Silver Bridge came crashing down. People say that they saw it perched atop the bridge and that he flew away seconds before it collapsed. Is that story true? Is any of this true? Honestly, we'll probably never find out, and it really doesn't matter. To the town of Point Pleasant, the Mothman has become an icon, a source of entertainment that draws thousands of people to the area every year to see the sights and visit the museum. So in the end, really it doesn't matter whether it's real or not. But it does beg the question, do you believe in the Mothman?